Fly, Eagles, fly, baby.
They flew yesterday, bro.
We looking good.
They look good, man. And I think it kind of goes back, in a relationship, since we already talked about Travis Hunter and his lovely fiance, sometimes things are going on in a relationship and they don't get resolved because you don't want to deal with the fighting. You're like, let's just move on.
Mm-hmm.
And you never really rip the Band-Aid off. And I feel like I'm not saying that they were in turmoil in the locker room, but after the BG overshare and after AJ said what he said last week, conversations had to be had. Like, at that point, you have to close the doors and have some conversations. And I think no one wanted that to happen in that locker room, but ultimately I bet it paid off. I really do. I think it paid off. I mean, just for the simple fact that Jalen on that first touchdown drive was like love bombing AJ. I mean, he threw him the ball like 14 times. But more than anything, it makes you actually like have to confront your problems. And it sounded to me like through the week, and credit to all those guys, AJ, Jalen, Sirianni had to deal with putting that fire out and then going out and out-uglying King Ugly in Mike Tomlin, who loves to win in fucked up ways. The Eagles possessed the ball in the second half for 24 plus minutes, 10 points out of those drives, 47 plays in the second half. A defense can only take so much of that.
47 plays to 11 plays.
To 11 plays, bro.
They gave them the suds.
They gave him the suds. Yeah, I saw that. That was so funny as hell.
Bro.
But the point, playing the Eagles when it's right for the Eagles, it's like, I liken it to an MMA fight, and I'm not some big MMA fan, but I asked somebody, I'm like, yeah, look at that.
That's how I feel today, dude. God damn it.
Your boy Bo's having a rough one. But I asked one of my buddies who watches MMA, I was like, hey, Dayton, what Dayton? Shout out Dayton. I was like, who's a fucking MMA guy that gets you on the ground and just beats the shit out of you and you can't get up for the entire fight, to the point where the people watching are like, this sucks. Khabib. It's like in the second half, they went Khabib mode. And, that is a suffocating thing. And it doesn't happen without the quarterback playing really well in the first half. And here's the deal. When we talk about Jalen Hurts, he can be one of two players. And, some people say, oh, you're flip-flopping, you're going back and forth. I'm always going to tell you when he doesn't play well. He played like dog shit last week. Sometimes a player plays better one week to the next. And I think the number one thing with him is decisiveness. When he's decisive, he's a damn good quarterback. When he's not decisive, he is not a good quarterback. If we can get that out of him, and I'm talking about that first drive, they come out, they go stick nod right at Landon Roberts. They have a plan, they execute it. They hit a slant, they hit a crosser. He knows where he's going with the ball. He holds the ball for a half second less than he did last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And part of that to me is the Steelers, and we talked about this last week on Inside the NFL, the Steelers do what they do defensively. I'm pretty sure they said in this game, we're going to run our shit. And Mike Tomlin said, we need the big guys to win up front, which to me is a miscalculation because the big guys aren't going to win up front. That group up front's too good. And if you give Jalen a clear picture, he's going to pick it apart. And if Kellen Moore has a game plan like that, they're going to roll. And so in the first half, getting out to a lead, I know they didn't score a bunch of points in the first quarter. For a second, there was Harry. They overcame probably his only bad decision of the day, the angle of that scramble, having to cut it back inside to TJ Watt, and TJ with the punch out. Sometimes the guy's just better. But then the Cooper DeJean muffed punt, they overcame that. Like, that's something that last year this team probably doesn't overcome. A couple weeks ago, I don't know if they overcome it. I think they worked some things out this week. And I think the Darnell Washington penalty down at the goal line was a huge deal in pushing them back to the point where they didn't get a lead 7-3 early in this ball game, because Najee Harris hurdled a guy and damn near went into the end zone, got knocked out of the 2-yard line by Nolan Smith, who played his ass off. That was a big sequence in the game, but I just loved the script early. You don't have to go out and run the ball 30 times a game, but if you're going to throw the ball, I just don't want to see a bunch of out-of-sync shots on second and long. I don't want to see things where Jalen's holding the ball and rolling right 4.5 seconds. I want to see him at his best, which is decisive. And if you don't like my assessment of the quarterback, you can kick rocks. You can go watch another show. We're not here to kiss your ass. We're here to tell you if the quarterback played well or not. This week he played really well. And if he plays that way, they're going to be okay. Am I worried about him? I said I was worried about him last week. I'm always a little worried about Jalen, just because sometimes if he holds the ball too long, the floor is pretty low. But if he's playing with timing, that was really impressive. And this is what that team demands.
Chris, I want to address Matt Minner in the chat goes, what's your take on the Sirianni bit where he was trying to talk to Carter and the D-line coach stopped him?
I love it.
Significant or just the media digging their heels in on this narrative? Is insignificant. I mean, game day is emotional, high-strung. Jalen is a young player.
Totally insignificant.
I don't personally know him, but like he's the kind of guy where, just like talk it out after. Talk it out after the game. You don't need to address it on the sideline. Everyone's emotions are running high. I think Hurt was just saying like, let me talk to my guy. Let me get him right.
Mhm.
There's nothing else to that. Philly's
That's
a
a great.
market
That's a absolute great job by a position coach, knowing your guy and knowing your head coach and knowing when to intervene at the right time before something gets way worse than it needs to be, because everyone knows emotions are high. Everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to do well. Everyone wants to do their job well. And I just think that's a perfect time. I was in Chicago with Coach Hurt, and
were you?
Yeah,
Kyle was there. He called me last night. He was like, "Yo, that guy is."
He's a big dude.
He's super cool.
He's super cool, but it's just
He's
like
huge.
he has the perfect body type to diffuse that type of situation.
Yes,
and it was great to see that. And then Dom being over there too. It was just like a perfect whirlwind.
He's the type of guy that could just look down at you over his nose and be like, "Oh, hold on a second, buddy. Like, back up." Like, that's what's neat. People were like, "Hey, I need you to speak on, that thing on the sideline," as if it's some big deal. I really don't think it's a big deal. The NFL is a complicated place. There's 53 guys, 53 different personalities, coaches. Their jobs are on the line.
Conversations happening.
This is Philadelphia, dude. Everything's going to be blown out of proportion, including the play of the quarterback sometimes, including the coaching decisions, including things on the sideline. That is what you signed up for when you play in Philadelphia. But I will say this. I've seen that plenty of times where a player makes a totally boneheaded play, and Jalen's one of my favorite players in the league, but he made a boneheaded play, and his emotions got the best of him.
Objectively hilarious.
Objectively a dumb play. And then he's on the sideline, and how it probably went was this. Clint Hurt is reading him a riot act, and Sirianni comes over to get a piece of him, and Clint Hurt says, like a good D-line coach, "Hey, I got this. I understand this guy. I'm in the locker room with him. I'm in the meeting room with him every day. I got this." And he does have it. Yeah. And, who am I going to argue with Clint Hurt? The guy's got traps.
And it was smart because
up here.
It's a situation where
he looks like the dude from Breaking Bad, kind of.
You can assume. Oh, that's funny.
Big guy.
Yeah,
Huel.
He's like that guy if that guy worked out and fucking had an
exactly.
athletic bone in his body, because that motherfucker looks like he can body slam all of us.
Bro,
he's done a great job with D-line.
I have a worse seat for this game.
Yeah.
And the worst seat is going to George Pickens not being able to get in on the fighting on the field that was happening in this game, and some of the
someone was going to take that.
And some of the chaos that was going on, that you could just see Pickens being in everything, every single one. The feeling of him being on the sideline and seeing a fight happen, it probably was like the worst out of body experience for him. And so for that reason, he gets the worst seat.
I got a St. Louis Memorial, Darius Slay. Listen, he's not the biggest guy, but he has been shoved into stanchions all over the NFL.
Got blindsided
this year. Trevor Penning knocked him into the Trevor Penning knocked him into the bench, and then Washington, who's basically like a fucking offensive tackle, decides he's going to put him on public transit, puts him on the wall like a hockey fight, and Slay punches him. Now, he got away with it. I ain't snitching because everybody saw it.
Oh, it was so home cooking.
He's going to get a FedEx.
Him and Quinn.
No, but here's the problem. Nobody could see it. There were too many bodies in there. When you're in a melee like that, the people outside can't see.
That's my thing with the refs. They're so quick to phone in and say we seen this,
but they can't do that on personal fouls.
But like if you're giving the other team a personal foul,
Yeah, but the other guy had a personal foul. It happens all the time in the NFL where the second guy doesn't get
all the
caught,
time.
or the
I know.
first guy
Yeah.
And in that scenario, I think there were so many bodies in there. It was hard to see. Like Malik Washington made him disappear, so nobody could see him punching him. And good on Quinyon getting in there too as a rookie and wanting to smoke. But Darius Slay, that was a big drawn penalty.
Wig drawn penalty. Why is everyone trying Slay?
I don't know. It might be the podcast.
Is it the podcast?
I don't know,
bruh.
But don't let the guy.
You have to fall. Like, so here's the thing. Like, as a D lineman, when you play nose guard, sometimes you're gonna get double teams where guys are gonna take advantage of you.
Yeah.
And like, instead of just giving ground, sometimes you have to swallow your pride and just fall and make a pile. I would say
I never did.
Slay. I would say Slay. If
I
you're in a
wasn't a
situation like that, bro, just fall. And he
But it worked
over
out.
you.
Everything worked out. Everything worked out. Okay. And so, just a really big turn in the game there where you could, leave it tied 3-3. Because after those two mistakes, if you had a 3 and out off of that and you're down 7-3, like the boo birds come out a little bit. Like, because there was a feeling for the people that really are anti-Jalen, which I just want to say, nobody in this, I mean, like, seriously, nobody's called for him for his job. We just wanted him to play well. There were people probably that were pointing at him and saying when he fumbled that football, see, there it is again. And in that situation, when you're at home, sometimes it can be almost worse than being on the road when you make a mistake like that. To get bailed out by the defense and just by not Malik Washington, Darnell Washington, his kind of dumb play to drive him into the first row there.
Mm-hmm.
That was big. But the defense, I got to shout out the defense. I thought they came out in that 5-down look and they said, hey, we're going to stop the run. We're going to put those 2 kind of 3 techniques and maybe a shade. You're going to bump the 3 one way or another and those 2 overhangs. And they said, we're going to build a wall and stop this fucking run. And they did. And by the time Pittsburgh tried to get on the edge, it was kind of too late for the script of the game. I thought Jalen played well early. I'm talking about Jalen Carter as well. With the job he did in the run game. I thought Nakobe Dean was knifing in on first and second down. He's become a real knife, really, is what he is on early downs. And Nolan Smith, I just want to take another minute to talk about him. I've talked about him once or twice this year. I've loved the edges he's been setting all year. He's been doing a great job of that. But did you see on the Josh Sweat sack the power that he brought to disrupt that play through the chipper and the tackle? Just played his ass off. And again, I've told you, he hustled and knocked down Harris on that play before the big penalty. If he doesn't knock down Harris, he might be in the end zone. And then who knows? But I thought Mitchell, again, steadily just doing his damn job. And can we close out the defensive rookie of the year conversation? I don't know that, and I mean no disrespect to any of the rushers who are involved. I love Jared Verse. I think Latu's played well. I think Chop Robinson's played well. They've all got 4 or 5 sacks. But back in the day when I was a kid, 4 or 5 sacks as a rookie wasn't defensive rookie of the year conversation stuff. And you could tell me it's pressures, but people suddenly don't care about the sacks. Now they care about the pressures. It's the corner.
Yeah.
The corner in Philly is one of the best in the league at what he's doing, which is playing corner, which is one of the most important positions on the field. So I think this should be a runaway for this kid. Just throw on the tape. I think as a rusher to win Defensive Player of the Year, you have to be up near 10 sacks. Will Anderson had 7 last year, disrupted the game in a lot of different ways. But I think, cash it. If you got that Quinyon Mitchell ticket, if you don't get the money out of that thing, I feel like he got robbed.
Is he going to be up for like others, like all pro and all that too? Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
You can still get that at plus money, plus 105 right now.
Oh, wow.
What?
Quinyon Mitchell, Defensive Rookie of the Year, plus 105 right now.
Who else is up there?
Guys, I need to stop the show for a second.
Jared Verse is plus 130 and somebody else is plus 900.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
I think that's a good bet, dude.
I just think part of it is there isn't really like a pressure equivalent stat for DBs.
For sure.
Like, pressures for defensive linemen, it gives them, it's like a metric or a measure of performance that's not a sack.
I swear they didn't.
You don't have that
about pressures when I
Yeah,
played.
no, they didn't. That's a
they
newer
didn't,
thing.
But like, if no one's throwing to you, like you have
exactly.
PBUs, but if no one's throwing my way, then I don't get any PBUs.
Right. And I think pressures are incredibly important.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not move the goalpost now, and all of a sudden be like, oh, we don't want to give it to the corner from Philly, because the guy has a lot of pressures, and he's going to be a hell of a player. I love Verse,
right?
But what I'm saying is, this guy's already one of the best corners in the league. Where do you stack Verse up in a list of edge rushers?
100%.
You know, he's a
or like
player.
the impact you make on your team or defense. Like I think huge.
Yeah. Because there are other guys on the D line who have made a big impact too that are newcomers. Fisk and Turner's young.
Yeah, exactly.
He's made a big impact. You know, the other edge guy, Young, has done a good job. So, you know, like that's a good young group. I think Quinion is a part of a good young group as well. But Cooper got a lot of notoriety because they moved in the lineup and they improved. But that corner position is huge. So
and he's an exciting white, dude. We need that.
Yeah, Cooper. Yeah, I have the T-shirt.
It's big for us.
I have the T-shirt.
Let me get.
It was so funny.
Great.
You know what the funniest thing is, and I haven't told the story yet. So we do Inside the NFL in South Jersey, and one of my buddies, Nick, shout out to Nick, was like, "Hey, I know the guys that made those Exciting Whites T-shirts, you know?" And I'm like, "Yeah, obviously, I know that shirt." And he's like, do you want me to run some down? I'll get the guys to bring, they want to take a picture with you and we'll bring the Exciting Whites T-shirt. And I was like, sure, yeah, bring some for the crew. So they bring all the T-shirts to Inside the NFL, and we get done wrapping this show. And I'm doing a picture with the T-shirt. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Ryan Clark's like, this is hilarious. I need one of these. And then the guy goes, Coach, here you go. And he hands him the shirt. Coach looks at the shirt, hands him the shirt back, and walks. And these two kids from South Jersey are like,
I was like, I've been developing Exciting Whites for
right?
years.
Bill, yeah, like I know Exciting.
I know
White.
who Exciting White. Come on, I got the most Exciting Whites. I found a lacrosse player.
Right.
I found a Kent State quarterback, made him a slot receiver. Yada yada. But that was a lot of fun too, watching Lane and him battle. TJ got a sack on Lane, but it was kind of like an around the world thing where Jalen kind of bailed out of the back. I thought that was just like two Hall of Famers battling it out. Like
it's just fun watching two premier players at their position, because it's like each one's gonna win, you know, each every time, and it's just good pure football, you know. Like
he had a great quote.
I'm looking for the Lane quote here. I think I got it. Lane Johnson. I'll tell you, son. I'm going to put it in Lane's voice. I'll tell you, all I was thinking about was TJ Watt today. I didn't give a shit about anything else. Get off the ball and don't let TJ Watt fucking destroy the game. You watch that guy on every film. He's destroying football games. Hope he's okay. He's probably one of the best in the world. And my lot called Lane Johnson the player of the match and the best O-lineman in the league. And I would agree. I really would. I know there's some people that, you know, I've seen on some graphics put up above Lane, and I know I'm Lane's friend, and I love the guy, but there's nobody better in the most important area of the game, which is protecting your quarterback. There's nobody better. You could say somebody else is better. You're wrong. I mean, Trent's up there. Trent's not been healthy. You know, Sewell's great, but Lane's a better pass blocker. And so if you're waiting the pass blocking, I think he's the best in the world. And Wirfs is awesome too. I mean, like there's some damn good tackles in the league, and I'm sure I'm leaving off a couple of elite ones, but I've played the guy. I used to have to practice against him every day in practice. It was like anything you try. The guy will beat you to 9 yards before you can even get off the ball. He sets you with an underhand grip. His hands are strong as fuck. His anchor is incredible. He's just a great player. So
I just love the amount of respect he has for TJ too.
Has a huge amount of respect.
7 tackles, 2 sacks. Obviously that respect has been earned. But I think when we interviewed Lane this summer with Jordan in that little fucking tiny RV, you know, we asked him who the hardest players to go against were, and they said Myles Garrett and TJ.
Yep. No question.
It's a good matchup, man. It's just
no
good
question.
play.
It was awesome. It was awesome. So
October 24th, 1965 is the last time the Steelers won at Philadelphia.
Jeez Louise, what's going on with that?
Long time.
Yeah.
Been a minute.
Since the Steagles.
That's right.
You know that whole Steagles
Phil
thing?
Pitt Steagles.